So this is the top 5 games that Hogwarts Legacy should take inspiration from. Starting off at number 1, we have the Shadow of War game. Now, half of you will already know what I'm going to say here, and it's the Nemesis system. Now, this system is a well thought out system, and you kind of effectively build your own enemies rather than the enemies the game is trying to set out for you. It was a bit of a leap forward from the games before. It was in Shadow of Mordor, not just Shadow of War. And yeah, it's a great system, very enjoyable. You feel like you're really sort of controlling which enemies you have and you don't have, and you could essentially use that same system to get friends as well as enemies. So that'd be very, very good. Like I said, I really, really hope that they can build something like that into Hogwarts Legacy because it works really, really well. I mean, in the Shadow of War game, clearly the developers knew they had a great system because it kind of smacks you in the face saying, we've got this great system, it's the Nemesis system, and we're going to design a whole load of menus around it. You're kind of never that far away from knowing that you have this good system in there. I think for the Hogwarts Legacy, it's effectively just got to be something in the background where, maybe teachers become friends or enemies, and you can kind of expand it to not just be the enemies but the friends as well. So I think that they should take inspiration from that, really see how that works, work out how they can integrate it and sort of set it into the background. Game number 2 then is Until Dawn. Now, some of you may be thinking, survival horror? This isn't a survival horror game, why am I even talking about Until Dawn? Well, actually, it's for one particular feature that's in Until Dawn, which is one of my favourite features of any game I've played, and it is the butterfly effect, or what they call the butterfly effect. Now, that was effectively, you had these little decisions you make, or things you did or didn't find or do, and what it would do, it would just change the fate of characters, and in quite a dramatic way sometimes, and change the complete outcome of the game, which was really, really good. It was a great, great system, and it worked brilliantly in that game because that game kind of felt like it was you were playing a movie, but you were actually playing it, and it could go in various different ways. It made it absolutely brilliant for replay value, which was fantastic. Worked really, really well, and I think if they just would attempt to do something like that in an open world RPG where these little things really do change things, missions you do, friends you make, maybe it does change what you're happening, I think that could really, really work well, and it would be really interesting to see how developers actually put that into an open world RPG. But if they're saying that we're the wizards and we choose our path, then why not put something like that in and really sort of expand on it and make it good for a much longer 200-hour game, or however long, even longer hopefully this game would be. Game number 3 then is Horizon Zero Dawn. Now, there's loads and loads of good features about Horizon Zero Dawn. Great storyline, good graphics, good friends, good enemies, good metallic dinosaurs, whatever you want to call them. But the thing that I actually think they should take inspiration from here is the way that they change environments. If you think about the game Horizon Zero Dawn, it actually had loads and loads of different, well thought out environments. So you had sand dunes, you had tropical, you had grasslands, you had mountainous, and they all sort of flowed really nicely together. It didn't feel like they were just quickly moving from one to another. It actually merged quite nicely. And one fear that you could get from this game could be that it's set in Hogwarts. So is it going to be a case of here's a wall, here's another wall, here's a grey rock? It could all get very, very samey. It could have a lot of tan or a lot of grey because you're in Hogwarts all the time. You go outside, it's all very rocky. And I think they should really think about how can they, with the bounds of what should be at Hogwarts, how can they mix that up to make it feel varied and nice, different sceneries and things like that. And I think the way you can merge all that together works really, really well in Horizon Zero Dawn. So I hope they really think about that and give us sort of varied experience. Game number 4 then, and this is an absolute no-brainer that they have to take inspiration from this game, and I would be amazed if they don't, but it's the game Bully, or if you're in the UK, Canis Canem Edit. Now, it's got to be something like 10 years old, this game now, but it was a really popular school game. Now, how can you not draw inspiration from the biggest game to have attempted the school-age thing in an RPG? I mean, the lessons were good. I really, really enjoyed the truancy system. So if you decide not to go to a lesson, the teachers will be out getting you. Things like that just worked really, really well. And even the combat, the combat was really, really good. There's so much to take inspiration from that game because it was really popular and they did an awful lot of things well. So they have to look at that game. Now, the final game is Hogwarts Mystery. Just like number 4 in Bully, it's an absolute no-brainer to me that they really, really have to look at this game. I mean, it's the latest Wizarding World game to come out, and it's set at Hogwarts. So they should really be looking at the community feedback, work out what people did like about the game, and really importantly what they don't like about the game as well. I mean, there's a bit of obviously controversial, whatever you want to call it, but right at the beginning of the game you had the whole devil snare thing where more or less at the beginning you got caught in devil snare, and then people saying you had to pay to get through it or wait 24 hours or however long it was. Obviously they quickly realised that wasn't popular. You kind of hope it was just a mistake they made and didn't really realise. But whatever, that got remediated. But and to be honest, this, if Hogwarts Legacy put microtransactions in, then this game is not going to be the best game in the world. Maybe it will be, but I'm not a fan of microtransactions myself. But aside from that, which is a very specific example, it's a game out there at the moment. Yes, it's a mobile game, but you get a feel for what the common room's like, what do people like doing, is randomly roaming around fun, which missions do they like, which missions don't they like. There's a really a lot they can take inspiration from then. So like I say, Hogwarts mystery, they absolutely must make sure that they view. Now if you've liked this video, please subscribe, like and check out my other content, plenty out there, lots on Hogwarts Legacy, and I will see you on the next video.